If you liked Coach Mills, you're gonna love Coach Mills Live. All joking aside, what's up everybody? Welcome to our brand new Valorant video. And in this video, we gotta break down the brand new State of the Agents where the Riot developers themselves talk about not only different changes that are coming down the pipeline for VIPER and YORU and talks about that, but also information about the next agent, which I'm so damn excited for because it's gonna be a freaking controller and that's absolutely phenomenal. So we're gonna break all that down, but there's never been a better time to climb the ranks of Valorant than our special Valentine's Day 50% off sale. Pop your Immortal Cherry and easily climb the ranks of Valorant using our special in-depth advanced guides and VOD reviews that you'll only find on the GameLeap website. Do yourself a favor and don't miss out on this insane sale in the links down below. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. Now jumping right into it, Riot released a brand new State of the Agents today, talking about a lot of the agents in the game that have been somewhat controversial, new agents like YORU, and of course gives us some hints to the brand new controller agent. But let's start from the beginning. I'm getting way too far ahead of myself. He says this at the start. He said, quote, "Hey there friends, it's John Gosecki." I don't know how to say your name. Anyways, 11 Intro John says this. "Character producer here for another look at our agents today and tomorrow. We skipped January, but we're here now. Let's go into it. Last time we hit two big topics, controllers and hinting at YORU, who, well, isn't a secret anymore. He's here in the game shooting people. With Brimstone and Omen changes live since 2.0, we're seeing them settle into some healthier places. Right now, there's even more competitive choice between the two of them that highlight their respective strengths. That leaves us with one more controller though, and of course he's referring to VIPER. And before we really dig deep into VIPER as a character and what he has to say about VIPER, we do need to talk about the pretty much successful changes they did to Brimstone. I mean, Omen and Brimstone are both viable, they're both good, and even though I have to pay more for Omen Paranoia than my divorce attorneys, I still think that overall the balance is pretty fair, and we're seeing that reflected in the pick rate and even in some pro play. So I do have to give props to Riot for doing pretty well in balancing these two controllers. But let's talk about VIPER. Let's move on to what he has to say about this one character that has kind of been left behind the wayside. So he states this: "Many of you have been perusing the patch notes waiting for some larger updates to address the issues that VIPER runs into. I'm gonna be the bearer of bad news that the next patch is not when you'll see the update. We'll need to spend more time really defining where she fits within the choice competition among Brimstone and Omen. She has a really unique spot within the roster, and we want to make sure that any work we do goes towards highlighting the specific play pattern she represents in conjunction with her power fantasy." Now, ultimately, we all know that VIPER is very unique as a controller, and there's a lot of things that she can do that other controllers can't. And yes, they could easily just cookie cutter her over, make her more similar to the other controllers, and she would fight for their pick rate, but they don't want to do that. They want to make her viable and still able to do the job of a controller while at the same time identifying her specific strengths and not ruining the so-called identity of the character. This is really important because sure, we could change VIPER to where she's viable, but what if she's no longer the VIPER that many of you VIPER mains know and love? That would be disingenuous to the character itself. That would be disingenuous to all the people that main her, and ultimately you might as well just be making a new character at that point if you change her by too much, and they're really trying to find that sweet spot. So we're not going to be getting big VIPER changes yet, but they are working really diligently on them, and based on the way that they balanced the controllers in the past, I am going to give them the benefit of the doubt here, but we're going to have to wait and see on this one. Now moving on to the next character that he really wanted to talk about, and it's YORU, and he said this: "YORU tore his way into the fight this year, and we're stoked to see how excited y'all have been to play him." Also stating that he has personally bought YORU stickers for his notebook, and he's thankful for all the fan art. Now he also states, "It's only been a few weeks since he launched, but we've noticed that mastery of his infiltration tools are not leading to the level of success we hope for. So given the current state of YORU, we're looking into some near future buffs." Now, near future, when they already identified that VIPERs are not going to be in the next patch, makes me think that YORU is going to be literally buffed in the next patch, which is pretty exciting for a lot of you YORU mains. And I think YORU on paper has a lot of really powerful abilities. There's just some minor tweaks that he needs. Specifically, the sounds of a lot of his abilities are way too loud, really hard to bait people out when things are really telegraphed. Some low-level players players won't understand what you're trying to bait. High-level players will never fall for the bait, and Yoru was just in this really weird spot where it was hard-pressed picking him over just about any other duelist or any other character. So I would like to see some interesting buffs in this regard. But we're definitely gonna have to wait and see exactly what type of buffs they're thinking about with this character. But let me know in the comments down below what you would do to buff Yoru. How would you change him and why? I'm really interested in your insight and your opinions down below. Now moving on to the last thing that we need to break down, we gotta talk about the new controller that he alludes to. Now let's read what he says and then let's talk about it. He says this. So this leaves us with the future. Y'all been asking for another controller, and well, that's what you're getting. As we discussed before, we're trying to push the boundaries when it comes to agent abilities in Valorant, and so far, everything we've thrown at you has been less disruptive than we thought they'd be. That being said, our next controller is a cosmic shift from play patterns you've grown accustomed to. This is one for you galaxy brain players out there that like to study everything that happens on a map. There are still a few topics that we'd like to dive into, but they will come with a different article. So keep an eye out over the coming weeks for some deep discussions on Valorant agents, and yeah, that doesn't really give us that much, but there's a few things that we can take note here. First off, they did think that Yoru was going to be pretty disruptive. I remember the article about that, where they talked about how Yoru is something that is going to look broken but not really be broken, and maybe they thought it was going to be more impactful than it was. But the interesting thing here is that they talk about this controller and it's something for Galaxy Brain, and they mention maps. Now, my first thought when I think of Galaxy Brain or a Galaxy Brain character in Valorant, and that's Sova, who's a character that you have to learn a lot about the game as far as executions and information gathering, but rollouts as well. And on top of that, the mention of maps makes me think that this is some sort of information gathering ability that allows you to learn stuff that is happening and somehow also make smoke-based executes based on that. Perhaps we're gonna have a character that not only can make proactive plays, but has to learn certain types of rollouts to get value out of their smokes. Maybe a type of smoke that could do some sort of damage or also be AoE. Not entirely sure. I'm going pretty balls deep here. Not a lot to go on, but I am very interested to see another controller. I'm really excited to see VIPER back in getting some big buffs before too long, and having a multitude of controller options in the game is going to be the big straw, in my personal opinion, to really start to balance the game for the future. I'm really liking the rifle changes. Now all they got to do is deal with that damn stinger and maybe the frenzy meta, and the game will be in a pretty nice spot. I'm very excited for Valorant. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments down below, and let me know, what do you want this agent to have? What kind of abilities or passive abilities would you love to see on them? Let me know down below. But right now we have a special 50% off stepmom sale for Valentine's Day, so if you want to climb the ranks of Valorant with ease, we got in-depth advanced guides, VOD reviews, and tips and tricks over every single character in the entire game. Do yourself a favor, don't miss out on this amazing opportunity to climb the ranks of Valorant with ease. But that's all I got for you today. Thanks so much for coming by. I'm Coach Mills, and of course, see you tomorrow.